is that getting new members engaged quickly is so important to keeping those new members, that there is so much rapid churn, to use a newspaper phrase, but there's so much rapid churn with new members. And if we don't get them engaged, we're going to lose them within a year or so. So James, Cara, Sean, what are you doing in admittedly these difficult times to get your new members engaged and engaged quickly so that we don't bring them in and then see them leave Rotary in a year? Whoever wants to jump in first. James?
Sure. So at the beginning of my Rotary year, I'm one of those people that I gotta have structure around me, or it's just chaotic. It doesn't work for me well. And so we assigned at that point, I think we had 79 members. So every member in our club was assigned to a committee. And I personally reached out to each individual in the club to either make them commit to a committee or just see how do we get them interested to serve in that capacity. And that's worked very well for us. And so as our new members are coming in, our approach is as soon as they're in, I have a conversation with them just to see where they feel they'll be a good fit. What are some opportunities or things they enjoy? And they tell me, I connect them with the leader from that particular committee, and they're on the phone with them. They're getting them engaged. Although we're not meeting in person, we are actively doing service projects. So we've had several projects. And so our new members, we're getting them to lead those projects. We want them there. We want them to sort of serve as committee leaders on those projects and taking some leadership roles in those opportunities. So that's sort of been our way to engage them. And also, one thing that we've also did this year is one of our meetings, when you're meeting in a virtual space and you meet every week, sometimes it is difficult to find a speaker. And so we will give our new members an opportunity to just have a meeting where they share about themselves. And we found that to be fulfilling for them because now they get to know us, but we're also getting to know them. So that's been really good for us. And that's sort of been our way to engage our new members.
Thank you. And if you're on this meeting and you're not one of the speakers, if you would just check and make sure you're muted, that would be really, really helpful. If you're one of the speakers, I'm not going to ask you to keep going back and forth between muting. So Cara, what is the Rotary Club of Anderson doing to get your new members engaged?
So what we've done is as soon as we get the membership application, we go through a club approval process, and we try to do that immediately so that we get buy-in that the member can join the club. And as soon as they do, I think it's really important that we get them inducted very quickly, because that shows them that they're important, they mean something, and we have a very, very nice induction ceremony. So as much as that sounds a little mundane, I think it's important. The other thing we do is we try to reach out to these new members and connect with them. Either if they're coming in person, we always make it very purposeful we're glad you're here. You're important to our club. And then we also have people reach out to them if they aren't in person and just checking on them, letting them know that, this is a little unusual, but we still want them to be engaged in whatever we do. And then the other thing is we are also doing a service project. And so we've adopted a primary school. And so we ask people to bring donations, and so they can feel like they're participating and making a difference in the community, because a lot of our new members, I've seen them bring donations for our primary school. And then the last thing is, and this kind of ties in also, we have had one in-person Discover Rotary meeting, and 2 of our new members came to find out even more about Rotary and why we do what we do and what we stand for. And I think that connection is really important. And so just between all those things, just really trying to make them realize what we stand for, what we do, and how important it is, and that they're an important link. I think that's why we've been successful in engaging them and keeping them active.
Thank you. And Sean, what about Fountain Inn?
Wow, well, it's tough to speak after James and Cara. They're doing such great work. Yeah, for me, one of my biggest goals was to lower that average age of our club, and so a lot of the new members that I brought in have been, in that 30 to 40 range. And one of the things that I've done is I've put them straight to work. I've put them right on my board. We've had a club of that was older, and almost everybody has been a past president. Several of them have been past president twice, and wanted to immediately get my new members involved. Our president-elect has only been a Rotarian for maybe a year and a half or so, and really just trying to surround myself with new members. We've kept my secretary and my treasurer that have that institutional knowledge, but um, you know, getting those new members involved on the board and the decision making process early, I think has been important for us.
So thank you, all three of you. Some great ideas. Get them in, get them energized, put them to work. And Cara, you said something that is rarely said. You don't sit on those applications, is what I heard.
No.
Somebody turns in an application, it's not 2 or 3 or 4 months before they're in. You turn that around quickly, and you make them feel special as Rotary Club members. Okay. We're working on new members, but retaining existing members is so important, and especially, and this comes from Rotary International President Holger Kanak, retaining our existing members is going to be even more important this year than previously in Rotary. What are the three of you doing to make your existing members feel special, and especially if you have some that maybe aren't comfortable coming to an in-person meeting, and that only affects 2 of you. I know, James, you're completely virtual at this point. So Sean, what are you doing to make your existing members feel special? Making sure you don't bring them in just to see your older members leave.
Well, and one of the things that we talked about in our in the interview that was in the newsletter was that we're doing a real push to try to get our members at that Paul Harris fellow level and higher. And so we're encouraging participation in our service events and our Adopt a Highway and some of those other just fundraisers and things that we do throughout the year, encouraging new members, but also our older members as well, and doing matching points and giving them those recognition points, and really kind of almost as like a competition. And we've already seen, whether it was Giving Tuesday or otherwise, a lot of our members are now giving in trying to get to that Paul Harris level. So that's one of the things we're kind of incentivizing.
What about you, Cara? Cara, I have a request for you to share your induction ceremony with, and it looks like you're in your car, but it doesn't look like it's moving. But maybe if you can't write a note, Carol or Faith can remind you to share your induction ceremony. So what are you doing?
Absolutely, we will share that. We have a script that we use that I just think is really important. It tells them a little bit about Rotary and welcomes them. And sure, we'll share that. Absolutely.
Okay. So what are you doing to keep your existing members happy Rotarians?
So it goes back to some of the things that I stated having to do with new members, but I really think communication is key. I think sending those meeting recaps for those individuals that for whatever reason either couldn't make the meeting in person or online, they know what we did. I also, before every meeting, I send the meeting agenda in advance so people know what to expect, who the speaker's going to be, who our sponsor spotlight's going to be. So hopefully it builds a little anticipation and excitement, and then after we send the agenda before the meeting and remind them of the meeting, then we send a recap of the meeting after. So I think those are critical. Once again, I think our social media presence is important. It keeps our name out there. It reminds people. And then one other thing that I did was we've had some members, and I'll be completely honest, that have not been on Zoom or have not been in person since I took over the presidency. And so I went through the list of members when our dues were due in early July or August. And every member that I had not personally met, I sent them a note and encouraged them to renew their membership and told them that this is going to be a really unusual year. We need them in Rotary. We need them, their service, and to hang in there. And so hopefully, and most of them paid their dues and are still in. Now, I can't wait to see them in person or on Zoom again, but at least that retain them in membership. So that's some of the things that I've done, or we've done as a club.
Yeah, that's powerful, especially that last one. Personal communication from a club president to people who are not Zooming and are not in person. Those are the most likely Rotarians you're going to lose. So they have heard from you that they are important, that you want them to stay in Rotary, and that this is a bad time, and just hang with us. And I know, Sean, when we were talking, you talked about you were sending personal notes to some of your members like that also. James, how about over there in Fort Mill? What are you doing to make sure we don't bring them in and have them go out the back door?
Sure. So I think very similar to Sean and Cara as well. Combination of communication, innovative speakers, and committee interactions. I think I can't say that enough. Trying to our club, I'm sure similar to other clubs, our Rotarians are responsible for finding a speaker, and on the rotation, they find a speaker about every year and a half. But I'm already reaching out 3 months in advance if someone is scheduled to find the speaker, working with them, letting them know their schedule. So they're hearing from me pretty frequently. Again, we instituted Rotarian of the Week this year, where each week we highlight a Rotarian. We, blast them on our social media, them and their family. We, at the meeting, they get a minute to just talk about their industry and about their family. Again, just allows us to connect with them more and learn more about them. Since we're separate, any opportunity we get to know what's happening with each other is always important. And then again, constant communication. We are reaching out to our folks 3 times a week. They have 3 touches a week, where on Mondays, we're sending out the weekly bulletin for that week. On Wednesday, we do a meeting reminder, and we do the highlight of whoever the Rotarian of the Week is. That's when their picture goes out and just a quick little message about that individual. And then on Friday, we send out a recap of our Zoom meetings. And when I started this, I thought it was a waste of time. And I went maybe a week or so without sending out a link, and I was getting calls like, hey, where is the link? I wait on that link. And this is actually from a Rotarian that has not attended an in-person meeting when we were meeting in person in years. And so, for me, I felt that was big. And so I think the virtual, one thing it's taught us is some of our Rotarians are, Beth and Carol know this, that we do have a club where membership or attendance is not always great in person. And so I think the Zoom meetings have been great for our folks because they can engage, they can watch the meetings, even if it's not during the actual lunchtime on Wednesday. And so for us, that's been really, really helpful.
Okay, great. And I hear even on the district level that some people don't like too much communication, but you are having success with 3 touches a week with your Rotarians, 3 touches a week. And when they didn't hear from you, they ask why you didn't like them anymore, it sounds like. So thank you. And just to wrap it up before we turn it over to other people, let's see, is Carl willing to say something? Yes.
Yeah, can I say one other thing? And I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think another thing that's really important that our club has done, and I'm sure many other clubs have done this, is we have communicated to our members that we will be flexible with dues. So for example, the members that aren't attending in person but are attending on Zoom, we've told them it is okay to deduct your meal costs when you remit your dues. We get that. And then we say, but if you show up, because we'd still love for you to come, just pay the cost of the meal. And it's very much on the honor system. We are not going to tick and tie all this. but we have a general idea. So I think flexibility in fees is a big thing because COVID has impacted people financially, and they don't want to ask. They want to be allowed to be flexible with finances, I believe.
And thank you so much. And a public service announcement on behalf of the district, we have finished our second round of No Rotarian Left Behind and Grow Rotary. And the checks are not in the mail. There was a little glitch in terms of people being sick and a couple things like that, but the checks will be in the mail next week. And we are sending out almost $2,200 back to many of our clubs in the district for you to help Rotarians or to stay in your club. So thank you so much for bringing that point up too. And then Sean, wait, was that everybody on that question? Okay, I got thrown off. Last, before we throw it open to everybody, just some quick tips to your friends on here who are in other Rotary clubs. Quick tips for how to bring members in and keep them in. Just snap at them. Start with Sean if we want to.
Don't be afraid to ask. Go after those folks in your community that definitely that should be Rotarians, but also even think outside the box. I've had some success lately with clergy, with pastors, and for some reason they had never been invited to Rotary in the past. So yeah, we'll go with that.
Cara?
Yeah, continue to remind your members to ask people they know, would you consider coming to a meeting? Because we believe if you come to the meeting, you're going to be hooked. I think that's number one. And I think the other thing is engage people quickly and communicate with them so that they know they're important and they're valued and they're a critical link to the success of Rotary and our club. Thank you.
James?
I would just say our goal has been to be intentional in making our club look like our community. And so when we're reaching out to people, we want to not just go with the business leaders that we've traditionally reached out to, but everybody that we feel would be a good addition to what we do and what we believe as Rotarians, and specifically as Fort Mill Rotarians. That's been our goal. And so that's why I encourage every club. I made that my commitment this year. And so even if we have to work through logistics of financially, how do we make sure that anybody that wants to be a part of this great organization can be a part of it? And so that's been our goal.
Okay, thank you. And I had a question from someone who was watching. Has COVID affected your in-person community service projects? Are you able to do in-person community service projects?
We have, and our in-person projects honestly have not been affected by COVID. We just try to do them. We have smaller groups typically going out to do the projects, and we try to mask up and be responsible when we're out. But we've been able to do them. The only difference I think would be versus sending 10 people out to do a project, it may be 2, but we've done more projects to give to spread the wealth and make opportunities for everybody to be involved.
Okay, Cara, Sean, do you have anything you want to add to that one?
Well, not surprisingly, it hasn't.
Yeah, we've actually been very.
I'm sorry, Sean.
Obviously, it has not impacted.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Inn.
Sean.
Sorry.
Okay, it is not. And Cara. Okay. We're at a bad point with Cara.
Impacted, I would say, is that our service projects are in. So, for example, the primary school, we go in smaller numbers, but we participated in many things, but just in smaller groups.
Smaller groups. Okay. We have a good group of people on here from other clubs, so we're going to have just a facilitated discussion. And I can't see everybody. I don't think I can see everybody on here. But any of these things we've talked about, how to bring people in, how to keep them in, how to engage new members quickly, and how to keep your current Rotarians, your older Rotarians, involved. Any comments or questions or anything you want to ask Cara, James, or Sean, or anything you want to add from your own clubs? Because there are other clubs in the district doing a great job also. These are not the only three. These were just three we decided to spotlight for several reasons. And so other clubs are doing a great job and have a robust menu of things to offer members. So anybody want to jump in?
Yeah, this is Pete Crandall, Spartan West. A couple quick questions of the three clubs in Anderson, Fort Mill, and Fountain Inn. How many other clubs exist in your city? Other Rotary clubs? Are you exclusive?
We have one other, the Greater Anderson Club. So there is one other club right down the street from us.
And are they growing, or are they having the success that you're having, or do you know?
You know, I don't
President is
know.
on the call.
I'm sorry?
David is on the call.
Yeah, David. Yeah, I thought I saw David Moore. When I try to look, I don't see him.
Okay.
So there's one other club in Anderson.
Fort Mill?
We're the only club in Fort Mill.
Okay.
James, Fort Mill is the only club, but having spent time up there, there are other clubs within 5 or 6 miles.
So we're really close to Rock
Yes.
Hill and Lancaster and
Indian
Yep.
Land.
Indian
all
Land.
those.
Yeah.
So, and you have a lot of commuters in your club too. Sean, I've lost you on the screen.
I'm here if you can hear me.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are in close proximity to others. Simpsonville, the Golden Strip, Breakfast Club, Malden, Lawrence, Clinton. I would say we're just experiencing a ton of residential, industrial, and commercial growth in our region of the state in general. But we are the only club in the city limits of Fountain Inn.
But again, from being down there, it's hard to see where one city limit starts and one ends when you're going down the Golden Strip. So someone else, any other questions or comments you want to make? I want to hear from a bunch of clubs if at all possible, and we'll come back to you, Pete.
I'd like to ask everybody, this is Jack Aiden, how the vaccine program is progressing in your various areas. It really started out slowly here in our area, which is the far western part of our district. But boy, in the last 3 or 4 days, it's really picked up. And for my club in Westminster, which is an older club, that's going to be the key to us getting back together this spring. So I'm interested to know how the vaccination program is working in your various areas. Thanks.
Okay, and we'll save that one to the end because I have another public service announcement about vaccinations also. So anyone else on here? I saw Jane Dyer from my club. I know Greenville is doing a number of innovative things. And I don't see Jane right this minute on the double.
I'm here.
Yeah, okay.
I'm here. We're trying to do a little something every month. So for we have the elementary school. So we did food boxes in November, and in December they said what they really need is a food pantry. So we stocked a food pantry, which is sad to think that our schools need a food pantry. And this month we're taking donations for the uniforms that they wear. And we have a member who is looking with the school district of Greenville to see if perhaps we can virtually read to students who are doing the virtual online learning. So we've had a whole lot of people step up, and we've tried to contact. We went through and saw all the people who haven't done anything since we started having virtual meetings, and contacted all of them. And then our big idea for in the next 2 weeks, we've invited everybody based on their longevity to engagement session to let them know we want to hear what they have to say. So like for the people, the first 20% will be on one day. There'll be a facilitator at noon and at 4. They're all Zoom meetings. We're back to all Zoom. We'll be at least giving them the opportunity for them to sit down and let us know what they think and about Rotary and what their expectations and what their passions are. So hopefully that will let people know that we really want to be engaged. And we had the mayor speak at our last meeting. We had a great attendance, but the Thursday before he was supposed to speak on Tuesday, because we've done hybrid meetings, he said that there's an unofficial guidance for the city of Greenville that they prefer that people not meet with more than 10 to 15 people in person. And we were having 40 to 50 people at our meeting. So we have gone back to doing only Zoom meetings. And we'll stick with that. The board will discuss it every week, the statistics and the mayor's request and the state guidelines, and just reevaluate. And obviously vaccines are a big deal. So hopefully we're trying to do one membership service project and kind of an opportunity for people to contribute every month and kind of highlight that and try our best to keep people engaged. And we are, we do have the Discover Rotary, so we do have new members and are excited to keep trying to keep things going forward.
So thank you, Jane. Anyone else want to jump in either to ask questions? And I'm saving some of the questions because we're going to get to them at the end. Babette? And we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Babette. If you want to put it in the chat box, I'll ask the question. And so while Babette's doing that, anyone else? Questions, comments, what your club's doing that you'd like to share? Great ideas.
Yeah, this is Cara. The only other thing I would...
Okay, let Cara, and then I think that's Raishika. We'll get to, I believe it is, I can't see.
Yes, it was Raishika. Yes, it was.
Yeah. We'll let Cara go back and then we'll get to you, Raishika. Cara, since you're driving.
Yeah, real quick. Yep. I'm pulling in, but anyway, one quick thing that I would mention, and I think we all know this, but I think it's good to be reminded, is that one thing that keeps people energized and engaged is to feel valued and needed. So use your committee members, use your board members. Don't feel like it's all on your shoulders. And that always is such a relief to me, but I got to tell you, I have the best board and the best committee members, and I allow them to do what they have signed up and been charged to do. And I think that spreads a lot of energy and a lot of commitment. Anyway.
Thank you. Raishika.
That must have been the Lord saying amen, because that was going to be my exact comment. As assistant governor, I've noticed that some membership chairs are struggling because they don't have support. And one of the things that I encourage them is you are supposed to be membership chair, meaning there's supposed to be a team. And so I noticed that membership chairs that have teams do well. Membership chairs who don't have the support that they should really struggle with a lot of things that we're suggesting, because it's a one-man show. So if you are a Rotarian on here and you're a membership chair, or you're just on because this is great information, please support your membership chair. They can't do this stuff alone. And they really desire to grow Rotary and they need your help. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good comments there. Okay, anyone else? I've got a question from Babette, and I guess that is to Sean, since he was the one who talked about bringing clergy in. Since a lot of clergy don't make a whole lot of money, do you have some special considerations for clergy, in terms of dues or financial considerations?
We definitely would, but that has not been an issue that has been presented to us as of yet.
Okay. So you have rich clergy down in Fountain Inn.
I don't know about that, but and again, we will work with probably anybody, kind of like what James said, and that not wanting to exclude anybody from Rotary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that was a good question. And there may be other groups. I know we have a number of people in nonprofit work and a number of groups. And so that's a question about financial consideration and how to make it fair across the board also. So that, thank you for that answer. Another question about community service projects that I had in the chat box. What are you doing? And I will say that the #1 community service project, not just in our district, but in Rotary districts all over the country, in some way relates to food drives, hunger relief efforts, backpack projects. So what are you doing? What are you doing for community service projects? And another public service announcement, you should have gotten from Eric Krischbaum, who is our district community service chair, a Google spreadsheet about what your clubs are doing with community service projects. If you participate in that, that will give us a very comprehensive list that we can share, not just this year, but going forward in the district. So quick comments, what you're doing that's working in terms of community service?
Two things, Beth, that kind of help with the question that Babette had. One of the things we did, and this was actually before my time, but we have a Rotarian, sponsor a Rotarian for folks who may have some difficulties with covering the cost of being in Rotary. So that's an initiative that, again, started before my time, but that has worked and may be an option for someone. In regards to food programs, we are, we allowed our Rotarians, although we're meeting virtually, to still pay the lunch cost of their dues. And all of that money is now going to support our local food initiative. And so versus us eating the lunch, we're giving that money back to our community. And what we've done on Fridays, a few of our club members go out to a food truck that provides food to homeless and individuals in need of meals. They help supply them food, pack the food, and deliver the food. And we are also investing in that project financially to make sure it runs. So that's been a really successful initiative for us and has worked well.
Thank you. Anyone else from another club want to jump in about community service projects that are working?
This is Dave from Greenville Brothers.
Yeah, thank you, Dave.
We've obviously done a lot of the food distribution. We have done that's outside activity that we've been able to do, either cooking food with using our smoker and distributing it, or collecting a food drive. We did at Christmas time, as well as we've also taken some of the money that people would have spent on meals and donated that to food banks. But another interesting thing we did was, and it could be done by individuals just then sending cards in, is we did both Christmas cards and an inspiration card earlier in the year, and collected those and sent them to Rolling Green community, and then they distributed them to the folks that are there in the retirement community that were not able to get out and do anything, so that they got some recognition or some inspirational comment or a Christmas card from our Rotary Club.
Great idea. Great idea. Anyone else want to hop in before we move toward the finish line? Babette says the Rotary Club of, let's see, the Rotary Club of Indian Land Lunch is embarking on a project to put together goodie bags for the homeless in the county that contain a small meal, water or juice in plastic bottles, tuna snack packs, cookies, can of ravioli, or as we say in Saluda, South Carolina, Vienna sausage in pop-top cans, and things like that. My church has done that before, called it Bag of Blessings. And I know, and so that's a great idea. Thank you for sharing that, Babette. A goodie bag or bag of blessing, or something like that can be given to homeless people. Anybody else? Okay, before we move to the finish line, Jack asked about just your impressions about how vaccinations are going in your area. When you think about Rotary, you think about polio, and you think about the work that Rotarians have done for 3 decades now, more than 3 decades, about 35 years, the work that Rotarians have done to help get the world almost completely vaccinated for polio and to eliminate the scourge of polio. So there is a role, it is not well defined right now, but there will be a role for Rotarians to play in the vaccination program. District 7750, to our sister city district to the east, is participating. They're providing all the volunteers, 25 volunteers tomorrow in Mount Pleasant near Charleston, for the MUSC's first mass open vaccination, meaning the first time people will be going to a independent site for vaccinations. And so we're looking for opportunities in the district that we could help with something like that. And we're also primarily asking Rotarians to help promote. And bye-bye, Cora, thank you for participating. We're also asking Rotarians to do what past District Governor Lorraine Angelino did a couple weeks ago. If you're vaccinated, think about wearing a Rotary shirt while you're getting your vaccination, having a photo taken, share it on Facebook, and share it to our district site so that we can, as Rotarians, help promote the idea of vaccinations and show that we're modeling good behavior. So that's my public service announcement. And now to just quickly to Jack's question, just 2 sentences if people want to join in. How are vaccinations going in your town or county? Anybody?
This is Jane with Greenville, and we went to the Prisma Health big event, big place, the old Kmart store in Greenville. My husband got his, and it was great. We were there total, including the 15 minutes, maybe 45 minutes. He had an appointment. The people were very nice, and it seemed to be operating very well, which I was very, very happy to see.
Thank you, Jane.
Hey, Beth, this is Rashika. In Aiken County, things started off slow, and then they took off like wildfire, which has caused now a serious clog in the system, because now we have a system that is overloaded for people to register. And as a matter of fact, we had somebody from the hospital speak with us this morning, and they requesting volunteers to work the phone system because the phone system crashed because so many people were calling to register. So it was slow, sped up like hotcakes, and now they're looking for volunteers to help work the phone systems.
Great. And let's talk, not today because I've got something else, and not tomorrow because I'm doing a Facebook Live with District 7770. But let's talk sometime in the next few days about how we can promote that, Rashika, for Rotarians.
Sure.
Okay, anybody else? Thank you. That was very good information there.
And in Greenwood, I think they did 800 yesterday, which was kind of a record day for us at Self. And we're registering every Thursday morning. We're registering 1,500 in about 3 hours. But it's mostly being manned by our information technology group.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? I know it's about 6 o'clock, but this has been such an interesting conversation. We'll stay another extra minute if somebody else wants to add something.
Beth, we ran into one thing in Lancaster, and ours is very slow and the hospital is very full. But we had a situation where when you open those bottles, you have to use everything in the bottle. And apparently the hospital had a couple of no-shows or something. So they put it out to some group to see if somebody would like to come in and get it. It got posted to social media, and it was put out in a way that if you come, just come, show up, like between 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you might get some of these extra things. Well, it has totally gummed up the works for the poor healthcare workers on that. So just urge people just to not do that. Sean had to leave. So let me thank Sean Bell, Cara Hamilton,
James Jeter, all of you for, the three of you for being panelists, if you want to call yourselves that. Thank all of you for joining us. This has been a great, great session. And thank you for what you are doing to grow Rotary, all of our Rotary clubs. Thank you so much. We will, let's see, our next, and I don't know if Carol wants to add anything about the next meeting. Our next third Thursday is Thursday, February 18th, same time, 5 to 6 p.m. This has been a great program. I really appreciate the participation of everybody. So don't forget our next one. And again, listen for information about how Rotary can, us as Rotarians, be involved in promoting, helping educate, and possibly even working with some of the hospital systems as Rotary volunteers as volunteers to get people through the vaccination process. So thank you very much. If I don't hear anything else, we will consider this meeting adjourned. And I really, really, really appreciate your participation in what you're doing for Rotary. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
All right. Thank you, Carol, and thank you, Beth. Great meeting, great meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, great meeting, very informative.
Yay.